Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. And in this video, we're going to talk about Bitfarms. They provided some news in Argentina where they're going to be lowering the cost for like 6 months on their electricity, which is kind of good news there. We also have Marathon. That's kind of, I think, is backing Auradine. I think it's called Auradine. They're basically a manufacturer of ASIC miners, and they're supposed to be better than the Bitmain miners. We'll take a look at that as well. And then we also have news from Digihost as far as the production or quarterly results. We'll take a look at those. And I think there was something else in there as well. I'm just forgetting what it was, but we'll get into it nonetheless. Also, the miners had a great day today along with Bitcoin. So we'll take a look at what's going on there. And did Bitcoin actually get to 38,000? It got pretty close, but it hasn't gotten there yet. All right. So as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in following coins and companies for full disclosure as always. And it would mean a lot to me if you guys could hit that like button. Definitely would help out the YouTube algorithm. So I would appreciate that if you guys did that. And let's take a look at obviously what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick and the miners. And we'll get into the news that we do have here. So here's what we got. Obviously, Bitcoin is, like really, really close to, well, it was really close. It did get to, on the daily here, it got to a high of 37,987. So we were just $13 short of the 38,000 mark. We came here pretty close as well on just a couple of days ago, about a week ago. We came to 37,999 on the dot. And, well, we didn't get there. So we're kind of battling with that 38,000 mark right now. More times it touches it, the more likely it's going to be bouncing above it. So that's kind of good news here. RSI still looks really good on it. But the miners also had a pretty good day. We'll just go run through these really quick. Any was up 4%. Argo was up 6%. Digital was up 6%. Bitdeer was actually down 14%. It had a great day yesterday. It was up like 30-some%. Bitfarms was up 13% today. Cypher was up only 1%. CleanSpark was up 7, almost 8%. Cores was up 4.5%. Digihost was also up 8.5%. DMG was up 14.8%. Greenedge up 2%. Hive was up 8.7%. Hut was up 9.2%. Iris Energy was up 6.8%. Marathon had a really good day, 11.6% for them. Mawson was also up nicely today, up 10%, almost 10.5%. Riot was up 9.7%. Soluna was up 11%, so they had a really good day as well. Stronghold also went up 8 and 0.15%. And then Wolf was up 13.25%, also a really good day there. So we'll see how long this continues going forward, but nonetheless, this is obviously good news for us. We've been kind of beaten down here recently on the miners. So just wanted to point this out to you guys here. And let's get into our news stories. And like I said, we'll monitor what happens with Bitcoin going forward, see if it actually breaks above the 38,000 mark, maybe overnight or something like that. That would be kind of interesting and cool at the same time. All right, so that's not it. That's what I wanted to get to. Stories. Here we go. So Bitfarms, let me see here. Bitfarm locks in power costs at 2.1 cents per kilowatt hour fixed rate at Rio Cuarto. This is in Argentina. And this is actually pretty good for them. This definitely will lower their overall cost on mining. And here's what they had to say. So Bitfarms has entered into a prepaid contract with its Argentinian private power producer to receive power at Rio Cuarto at the rate of 2.1 cents per kilowatt hour plus VAT. That's basically their tax for the months November 2023 through April 2024. So that is, 6 months, which benefits from seasonally lower natural gas prices in Argentina. So that's great. And then with Argentina currently contributing 23% of our global hash rate, the 6-month fixed price agreement will significantly lower our blended cost of power, said Murphy, president of and CEO of Bitfarms. By comparison, in Q3 of 2023, our all-in cost of power at Rio Cuarto was slightly over 3.2 cents per kilowatt hour. And in October 2023, which was our first month operating that facility at full capacity, our all-in cost was 2.2 cents per kilowatt hour. Accordingly, with lower price costs at Rio Cuarto over the next 6 months, we expect the average cost of power at our Argentina operations in this first year to be around 2.5 cents per kilowatt plus taxes, driving down our corporate average cost of power for the full year. So this is obviously great news. And this might be why the stock actually went up a little bit here, because that's definitely going to help them out. Not they're in any big trouble, but it's going to definitely go to the bottom line. So this is obviously good news here, okay? So I wanted to share that with you guys. Next is kind of interesting here. I believe Marathon is backing, I think they invested in Auradine. And they just said, this is a tweet from them. Congrats to Auradine Inc. on announcing their latest miner with ability to achieve 15 joules per terahash efficiency. So that's right now at the moment here. I believe that's the best in the market. When we look at some of the big guys here like Bitmain. So if we look at what they're actually offering here, we'll take a look at that now. They got two versions of this ASIC miner here. We got one that's air-cooled, and the other one is going to be in immersion cooling. So obviously the one without all the fans is going into the immersion cooling part of things, and that one's going to be a little bit higher spec here. So the air-cooled one is going to be 0 to 260 terahashes per second. That right now beats what Bitmain has as far as their S21 here, which is right now at 200 terahash, and that's at 17.5 joules per terahash. And Auradine's machine here is at 16 joules. So slight improvement there, right? Not that much, but still an improvement nonetheless. And then their immersion cooled machine goes to 375 terahashes, which what Bitmain has in store right now is the S21 Hydro, which is at 16 joules per terahash at 335 terahash. So pretty close, obviously, but definitely a little bit of an improvement here from what Bitmain has. Operating range could be anywhere between negative 20 degrees to 50 degrees Celsius for the air-cooled, and 0, obviously, in the immersion-cooled to 50 degrees Celsius on that one. And then this is their older machines here, the AT 1500 and the A1 2500. But going down here, you can obviously see some of the features that it has. One of the good things that it has is cloud-based setup for the miners, and it takes advantage of being able to shut down the miners when needed when electricity prices are higher, so you can kind of control it that way. Be interesting to see how that operates and everything else. The other thing that's kind of interesting here is that they are going to have these available for ordering. So the Teraflux AT2880 and the A13680 systems will begin shipping to customers in Q2 of 2024, with production volume starting in Q3 of 2024. So that's kind of right in the range where possibly, if the previous Bitcoin halving cycles work out the way that they have worked out in the past, they're going to work out in the future. That's kind of right where we're going to be as far as possibly getting close to maybe 3/4 of the way to the top of Bitcoin in this cycle. Right, Bitcoin usually, after the halving event, 12 to 18 months out is usually when it peaks. So that's going to be pretty close to that at that time frame, especially in Q3. People are not going to be getting it probably until Q4 sometime with, well, they're saying production volumes and starting in Q3. So by the time they get them produced, shipped out to the end users, the miners, you're looking at possibly Q4 at the earliest, and then Q1 into 2025 with large volumes there. So it's kind of interesting. But I believe, like I said, I believe Marathon has invested in them, and it wasn't a small amount either. So this is interesting. We'll have to see if Marathon actually pulls a trigger on this, and they will be buying these. The other, obviously, thing to think about on these machines here is what is the cost going to be on these? And then also with them being new entrants into the space, how efficient are the miners going to be? How durable are they going to be also? Are they going to be having issues with uptime, things breaking, circuit boards, chips, things like that? It would be interesting to know what kind of, I'm guessing they're probably using like the 5 nanometer chip size on these. I don't think they're going to have access to the 3 nanometers yet. I think 3 nanometers is probably being used up by Apple right now for their smartphones and other chips. But that's my biggest concern is, one, it's kind of getting late into the, after the halving cycle as far as production is concerned, deliveries, and then what's the cost on these, durability on them as well, lifetime basically. You know, the S9s from Bitmain were workhorse. I mean, it would take a lot to get those things to break. The S19s as well, heard really good reviews on those. So we'll have to see, obviously, how these perform here. And it's something that's going to be a gamble on some companies to take, with new entrants especially. So just wondering on those types of things as far as how that's going to all work out. All right, let me know if you guys think of this as good news, bad news, or not. But we can obviously see here that they're a little bit ahead of Bitmain right now. But there's no reason why Bitmain couldn't come up with something within the next 6 months that might be even better than this, right? Bitmain has been continually innovating, making the chips faster, using less energy over time. If you go back to the S9 models, that was what, approximately 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Those things were 13.5 terahash miners, and they were drawing at that time, I think it was like 1,300 watts or something like that. So definitely not efficient. So you can see how efficiency has improved over time on this. Okay. So let me know what you guys think of that. It'd be interesting to see which miners actually pick those miners up, and definitely what the pricing is on them. So how comparable are they to the prices that we're seeing from Bitmain right now? And the good thing is, I think they're supposed to be made in the US, or at least manufactured, assembled maybe. I don't know if they're going to be completely made in the US or if it's just the design is made in the US and then they're going to get it built out someplace else. Don't have all those details yet. Okay, so that's it for that one. Next is going to be Digihost here really quick. We'll go over this as well. This should be pretty simple and easy to go over. We're still waiting on a couple other miners to report, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But here's what we have from Digihost. So Digihost reports positive year year-over-year revenue growth and 49% increase in EBITDA for Q3 of 2023. And here's what we do have on them. So revenue from digital currency mining and sale of energy of 5.4 million reported for the 3-month period ended September, compared to 3.7 million for the 3-month period ended September of last year, which is an increase of 46%. So that's good there. EBITDA for the 3-month period ended September 30th was 3.6 million, an increase of approximately 49% from the company's Q3 2022, so prior year reported. Net income for the 3-month period ended September 30th of basically 100,000 here, as compared to a net loss of 1.7 million for the same period last year. So they are doing good things here. So they're at least staying positive, which is good to see. They're not, they're small, obviously. We've talked about this before with Digihost, but they are at least not losing a heck of a lot of money here. So that's a positive there, at least. All right, let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and we'll call it a day. So Digihost right now has about 28.7 million shares outstanding. Stock price is $1.28. Market cap is at 36.7 million right now. You can see that their performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually pretty good. They're up 32% from 12 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, they're up 46%. From 4 weeks ago, they're up 14%. And then only last week, they were down a little bit here, 4.41%. You can see that their BTC production has been increasing nicely, but I think it also includes their energy production that they're converting over to Bitcoin as well and reporting that. Because when I look at the numbers here, I'm not being able to get my numbers to work. So I believe that they're doing that. And I think it also makes sense when we look at the numbers down below. Okay. Hash rate, they've been stuck at 913 petahash for, 5 months here since April. Then they increased a little bit here in September and stayed the same in October. Bitcoin mined per, or BTC revenue here has been increasing as well, 2.81 million for October, which is good. And that I believe includes also the energy side of things of the business. And then looking at here, the last 4 quarters of revenue, you can see that it has been kind of up and down here. Current quarter estimate is at 7.5 million. If they stay where they are, Bitcoin stays where it's at, network hash rate stays where it's at, that's kind of where they would be here for this quarter, given that we still have November and December to go through. And then the last 4 quarter operating costs minus depreciation, those have been increasing, but so has their hash rate, and they also bought power plant, so that's going to increase the cost a little bit as well. So it's not too bad there. Let me see here. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation. We had a weird number here that was throwing things off in Q4 of last year for some reason. It came in at 50,000 almost to mine 1 Bitcoin. So something was off there. Their Q1 number was much better, obviously, at 13.2. Q2 went up a little bit here to 13.9, and now Q3 went up to 15.3. That's normal. We're seeing this happen when the network hash rate for Bitcoin increases. You're going to see that increase as well for the other miners as well. Bitcoin mine quarterly has been increasing as well, so that's good to see there. Debt to equity, lower is obviously better. That has decreased here to 0.28 from 0.36, so that's good there. Current ratio, obviously we want that to be above 1. Usually higher is better. They're at 0.59, so that has been decreasing a little bit. So that's a little concern there. But as long as they're cash flow positive, I think they should be okay. Total current assets here at 3.36 million. Current total liabilities, 5.61 million. Would love to see them pay that down or pay it off completely. Be done with it. That way they don't have to worry about that going into having it. Okay, so I was off by 2.35% on the revenue side of things, which includes, like I said, the electricity in here as well. Because if you look at the numbers here, especially as we get into like November numbers, or actually into December numbers, I think I had to add something here for them. What did I do? I added more hash rate for them. And they reported that they're at 1 exahash. I've been at 1.1 exahash in order to make it work. But I think they're reporting, like I said, the revenue from the electricity as Bitcoin's basically equivalents. Okay, we'll get into these numbers down here in a second here. Let's take a look at their assets. Assets have actually decreased here a little bit to 3.35 from 3.99. Not too bad. Total assets also decreased to 47.3 from 50.8. Okay, that's not too bad there. Accounts payable went up to 4.5 from 3.9. Let's see, lease liabilities went up a little bit here as well. Mortgage payable went down to 434,000. Loans payable also went down to 514,000 from 761. So that's good there. Total current liabilities actually went up to 5.6 from 5.3. So we talked about that earlier. Total liabilities actually decreased here to 10.3 from 13.5. So that's good there. Okay, so maybe something got moved over here from the long-term liabilities into the shorter-term liabilities. And then going down here, total liabilities and stockholder equity actually went down to 47.3 from 50.8. And then here's the revenue side of things. So they reported 5.35 million total revenue. Self-mining was 4.3, and then sale of energy was 969,000. So that's where we're getting that number here, and that's being included in with what they're reporting on Bitcoins each month here. Cost of power obviously went up to 3.2 from 2.6. Let's see here. Other production costs went up a little bit as well to 434,000 from 357,000. Depreciation, don't care about that. Cost of power, plant operations went up to 635 from 513. And we can see that that has been increasing, which is normal to see as they ramp up electricity there. Cost of revenue went up to 7.8 from 6.6. And then their gross profit minus depreciation went down to 12.89% from the 32% that they had here in Q2. So that's a little concerning, right? They got to watch their costs on everything else. Operating expenses, office and administration went up to 934,000 from 814. Professional fees went up. Regulatory fees also went up. What else do we have here? Foreign exchange gain, don't care. Loss of sale, don't care. Looking for cash expenses. That's about it. So total other income expense, what are we getting? That was a credit here, looks like. We're getting, oh, okay, so we're looking at the total other income expense was 586,000. That doesn't make sense. Oh, foreign exchange gain, that's what's offsetting it. This is the 1.2 million here. So that's helping that out right there. Okay. Net loss was 136,000. And let me see here. So they lost, basically they're saying that they had $0 per share, I guess we could say, on earnings on that one. And if we take out minus depreciation, we're looking at about 12 cents per share, which is actually better than what they had in Q2. So they are going in the right direction, looks like, here. All right, we had one positive quarter here, which was in Q4 of last year. After that, we had 2 quarters that were down. This quarter looks like it's up, so at least it looks like they're heading in the right direction based on the things that I'm seeing here, at least. Okay, going up here, looking at the cost of mine 1 Bitcoin, 15,000. So that's up, like I said, and that's normal based on network hash rate for Bitcoin going up. Debt to equity current ratio, we already covered that. Book value of equity was 36.9 million now. Price to book ratio was 0.993. Enterprise value was 30.2 million. A beta of 326,000. That's what I got for them. They're saying higher than that. I might be including something that they are not. EV to beta 92.7. And then when we look at their revenue and compare it to the general administrative compensation costs, they're at 23%. I'd like to see that below 20, but that's still pretty good. Other miners are much higher than that as it is. So they're pretty lean right now as it is. You could possibly cut some fat in some places just to get a little bit more profitable going into having an event. But the other thing is they got to grow hash rate, right? They're only at 1 exahash right now. I don't have much of anything else for them as far as growth being reported here. All the miners are already plugged in as it is right now for them. If we look at it over here, and they are at 29.79 joules per terahash efficiency across the fleet based on my numbers here. There might be some miners that they could possibly turn off. I don't know if I turned those off yet. I don't think I did. Nope. They got some miners that are the older ones, the 76 terahash miners and the 90 terahash miners, which might be getting unplugged here shortly if they haven't been already. And that's why they might be at the 1 exahash like they reported. All right. Okay. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think of them. And then here's the miners that we're still waiting on information on. So if we look at the numbers here, we're still, believe, waiting on, let me see, for the monthly, we're still waiting on Mawson to provide theirs. And then Stronghold as well. They're kind of always late to provide those. So we'll see if we can get those updates here shortly within the next week or so. And then on the actual numbers, we're still waiting on, Digihost actually provided theirs yesterday, so I got that one. We're still waiting on Iris. Iris may not provide their numbers. That might not happen until the end of the year. I think they do theirs biannually. And then we still have DMG that I have not seen numbers from, and CleanSpark. CleanSpark, I think, has their year end right now. So that's going to take a little bit longer to report those because they have to be audited basically. They can't just put out unaudited numbers for the final year or the fiscal year numbers. So that might take us into possibly December. I'm hoping that doesn't take that long, but we'll see. And then we're still waiting also on Core. So we still have a couple more that need to report. And once they all do, and then we'll do the minor comparison on the quarterly results for them. And we do a lot more in that when we look at that. And if we have that, where is that at? Weekly, monthly, quarterly. So we look at a lot more metrics here on all of those guys here. If we look at it, there's a lot. So we look at quarter over quarter hash rate, quarter to year to date hash rate, year over year hash rate added, A quarter of Bitcoins per exahash, quarter BTC mined, quarter BTC per million shares, growth left per petahash. And then we look at financial side of things as far as compensation versus revenue, price to book ratio, current ratio, quarter over quarter, current ratio, debt to equity ratio, quarter over quarter debt to equity ratio, and then we score them all on that. Last quarter was the winner for the growth metrics was Marathon was number one, Cypher was number two, followed by CleanSpark, then Riot, and then TeraWolf and Bitfarms. On the six metrics for the financials, we had DMG, Riot, and CleanSpark as the top three here. And then when we look at the actual 13 scores, we got Riot, Marathon, and CleanSpark leading the pack here. Bitfarms being in the fourth spot, Cypher in the fifth spot. So we'll see how all those come in. And then I actually weighed the metrics. After weighing the metrics here, we can see the score here on all of them. Weighted metrics came in at, CleanSpark came in number one, Riot came in at number two, Bitfarms number three, Core came in at number four. Obviously, Core's in still Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They're restructuring. So we'll see how they get out of that. But that's kind of the way things shaped up on that. So that'll be fun to take a look at to see how they progressed, how the numbers progressed. I may actually do a PDF of this version just to compare it to how Q2 looked like and now how Q3 looks like for all the miners and see if there's any spot changes and things like that. All right. So all of this is available to the Patreon members as always. Thank you to everyone there. That access to that is still $5 a month. The description or the link to that is in the description below the video, and we'll see where things go. Let's take a look at Bitcoin really quick. I'm really interested to see if Bitcoin actually can pull off getting above 38,000. So if we go over here, we're still at 37,641. So we're down a little bit from where we were, but nothing major here. A little bit of a pullback is always healthy in my opinion. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.